Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I haven't talked for quite a while on here, and it's because I've been going through a process where I've been trying to do a drawing from a vision that I had, and I've been doing it now for over 2 weeks and still not been successful with it. And it's because I'm trying to refer to something that was just literally like a flash in my head. And so it's very, very difficult to accomplish. So I've done kind of lots of different things to try and rectify it, and none of it's really worked, and none of it is really the way that I'm kind of trying to teach myself how to do drawing, and to do it in such a way that it creates the feeling that I'm experiencing myself. So I've been in a real I've been very frustrated with myself, very up, down, not able to let go of wanting to do what I had planned in my head, which is to literally draw from a vision in my head. And of course, every time I go back to that, I keep thinking, no, I'm not going to give up. Not going to give up. I am determined to do this. I'm never going to give up. And it was only yesterday that I just started to realise what I'm actually doing, which is just to basically shut source out, because I'm not allowing myself to be in the present moment. I'm literally living in the past, because I'm only letting myself do what I said I was going to do. Yesterday, finally, I surrendered, and there was a little voice that came and said, "Let me in." And I realised that Spirit was trying to connect with me. I had terrible sickness and stomach problems in the last few days, and really a whole week of feeling not great and not being able to eat properly. And I personally think that a lot of it is resistance, and being okay and being willing to forgive myself that I can't do what I had in my head. I can't fulfill the idea of what I had in myself. It just kind of feels like such a letdown. And it felt like to me almost that it's proof that I can't draw properly, because I can't do what I said I was going to do. Really only yesterday mindfulness started coming in, and I started to realise that I was trapping myself. And we do this in so many ways, don't we? Don't we trap ourselves in so many ways? And you know, before we actually realise what we're doing, I really had to just sit there and breathe and concentrate on my breathing, and just tune into a piece of music that I've been listening to a lot recently, and just let God in, you know, because basically I'm shutting out. If I stick to something that I said I was going to do, because when I said it, I was in such a place that I was like, yes, I'm excited, this is what I'm going to do. I feel that it's source telling me what to do. I'm following spirit, I'm following guidance. But actually I'm not following guidance, because I'm stuck in this place where I will only do what I said I was going to do. When every day or every moment, every second, every present moment that I breathe, it could be a different thing. Because this is how Source works. And, you know, this is not really what I intended to talk about. It's just kind of come out like this. Really wanted to talk about forgiveness, because I have already done a video on forgiveness, and no one apparently has actually watched it. And that is, to me, that's just really interesting, that no one wants to watch a video on forgiveness, because forgiveness is like a fundamental principle in spirituality. To me, if you can't forgive yourself, nothing and no one else is ever going to be forgiven. You know, if you're in a state of non-forgiveness, like I have been for the past couple of weeks, I can't forgive myself for not being able to pull off what I think I should be able to pull off. I have expectations, and when there's expectations, there's always the ego. There's always the idea that you should be able to do this thing that you think you're capable of, and then somehow the goalpost gets changed, and you end up doing something that it's never intended to be, and then it becomes something else. And I couldn't forgive myself. And only yesterday I realised that but God is basically telling me, let me in. I want to show you that you can do. You can draw, you can paint, you can do all these things that you know you can do and you know you love. You know, and you don't have to be stuck. You can always choose again. You can always choose again, no matter what is happening. No matter what's going on around you. No matter what you're creating that you don't like. You know, we create so many things that we don't like, and then we can't forgive ourselves for creating them, or we blame the world or other people for it happening. Forgiveness is so important. It's fundamental in the journey of spirituality. If you want to have a spiritual life, and you don't want to work on forgiveness, it's the spiritual part, the bit that you think you want to be spiritual. It starts off with ego, because a spiritual life is the bit inside you that is always wanting to connect with God, is always wanting to be everything that you are. And there are no restrictions. There is no place, there is nothing you can do or think about or say that can't be forgiven. Nothing. You know, which brings me on to the fact that there are some things that happen in the world that are really hard to forgive, and because of it, people live their lives in the past and according to those things that happened to them, because they can't forgive them, they can't let it go. And just recently, my husband watched a couple of things to do with the Jewish Holocaust, and I find these things very, very difficult to watch. There was a film, a movie, and then afterwards there was like a documentary on survivors of various different camps. And you know, I watched part of the movie, but I said to my husband, also I've been very ill this week, so I've not been able to stay up and watch television, just didn't feel like it. So I decided, I said to him, you can go ahead and watch it, and watch the rest of it without me, that's fine. And when I went to bed that night after I watched half of this film, it was very difficult for me to go to sleep. I lied there, and I knew that was going to happen. I just lied there for such a long time thinking about how hard it must be for survivors to forgive what happened to them. And yet here they are, they survived, and somehow they managed to live a life. When my husband came to bed the following night, we talked about it, and I said to him, I really feel like there can't be anything else in life that could be worse than that. That could be worse being in a Nazi death camp. I really can't see how even the crucifixion of Jesus Christ cannot be worse than that. There is nothing that can be worse than what they did. But even in that, even when I asked Spirit, I asked Yeshua, how there can be any love in this. How can there be any love in such a horrific situation? How can you bring love to that? And the answer I received was that the fact that there is survivors just goes to prove that you can't kill God. You can't. The Holocaust was an attempt basically to kill what is God. And because we have free will, because we have the ability, the power to bring ourselves to hell and create a living hell here on earth, we have the capacity to do that, and we wanted to see if we could do that, but we didn't. We didn't do it because there are survivors living to tell the tale, which goes to prove there are living testimonies to the fact that you cannot kill love, which is what God is. You cannot destroy it. It's indestructible. It's eternal. It goes on forever. And in that, there's always the choice, even in the most horrific of circumstances, to be love, to be the presence of love. And look what they've done now. There's one living survivor who actually lives near me. He's a sculptor, and he's doing amazing sculptures, and he's, you know, he's seen the most horrific things, and his whole family died in the death camps. But he's survived, and he's doing really well, because this is what I said to my husband: there can be nothing worse than that in this life. Therefore, you feel like you're invincible. You've basically become like Jesus. You've become a Messiah. You've defeated death. You've defeated the idea of death. You've come through that, and you've come out the other side. And because nothing can be worse than these horrific places, and yet they're survivors. They're survivors. And in that, the fact that they did survive and good did come out of it. Not good in the sense that but it changed our consciousness forever. It changed our consciousness because we're so aware of what happened now. And by making it aware, is it possible to forgive, to let the whole thing go? I think for some people, they will always there'll always be, their life will revolve around that, the fact that they can't forgive because they can't accept it. I think it's really important to talk about these things. It's so difficult. It's so hard to accept. And yet the people who did these horrific things are in the same living hell as the people that they did it to. Because how can you create something like that without being in your own hell inside your head to think that's what you need to do in order to survive? It's a living hell that we create, and we're in charge of. We have the power to choose it or not to choose it. And we have the power to forgive ourselves. If we can forgive ourselves, we can let the whole thing go. And by letting the whole thing go, newness, a space is created, and there's change in awareness. There's a realization that we have that power to change the world and make it a better place, just purely by letting go and surrendering. Say, okay, I let it go. I can't do what I thought I could do. I forgive myself. It's okay. I'll do something else. I can always change, and then more of God can come in. More of God can come in because you're not closing yourself up anymore. You're letting God come in. Just resting in awareness just for a few moments, and without clinging on to what I need to cling on to. I need to do this painting, I need to do this drawing, I need to cling on to it. But just softening and breathing. And resting in all that you are, because you are God. You are everything. And you can always choose that at every moment in time. Thank you.